Virat, do you like pets? He's like, yes. I'm like, do you have any? He goes, no. And I'm like, but you just picked two ducks.
Apesh and
Guess who's in the house? Claps.
Who am I talking? Am I talking to Mr. Nags?
Only peace. There might be.
Peace. Peace. Am I talking to humble politician? Does you know of a app called Jar? Sir, I'm not sure, sir. What it is, sir? There's so many characters. There's so many questions. Is there a method to madness?
For example, call someone and say, I put petrol in your diesel car.
can I put the petrol on you and burn you, man?
Call someone and say, how do you enjoy the chicken Manchurian?
I will order your wife, you will give your daughter.
Why would a cricket franchisee create a character like Mr. Nags?
Well, when we did Mr. Nags, the idea was to give the person who's here access to what happens inside a team environment. Mr. Nags has always been the idiot taking the joke. He's always been the punchline. We've gone in there with no ego and just the dream, the desire to do well and to make it worthwhile for the people watching.
Who am I talking to? Am I talking to Mr. Nags? Am I talking to humble politician Nagraj? I'm sorry.
I think these are all extensions. Let me firstly, hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me here, Akash. Thank you, Nischay and the team at Jar for having me here. I think you're speaking to someone who's created these wonderful characters because I was never confident in being myself. And I always wanted an alibi to kind of jump onto and express what I was feeling or what I thought was funny. For today, you're speaking to Danish, who's, like I said, created these different characters. I just became a dad 3 months ago, so it's refreshing because I feel like beyond a point you stop enjoying things in life because it all starts to seem very mundane and it's the same thing. But the fact that I now have a chance to rediscover the world through a very fresh set of eyes. I'm just excited, ecstatic. Today, in fact, he turns 3 months old, so we cut a cake at home for him, and I'm here with you guys. So I'm just happy, man. I'm happy to be here.
And we are delighted to have you here. There's so many characters, there's so many questions. My team is such a big fan, and one of the things is that is there a method to madness? Is there a process? Is it just I'm a born comic or whatever? But talk us through the process of these characters.
Yeah. So just to kind of, I'm going to take you back to where we started, where you said improv is really hard. I think what we don't realize is all of us at some level are improving. Because the basic fundamental of improv is to say yes and. You constantly take the story forward and you don't get stuck in that one problem and try and negotiate with that. You essentially accept whatever is there, and the idea is to not be stuck in the same place but to move one step forward. And I feel like in businesses, in our lives, all of us do that same thing. So I think all of us are great at improv. It's just that some of us apply it in business, some of us apply it in comedy, some of us apply it in storytelling. But the idea is to constantly take the story forward. Coming to the question of how I created these characters and, how I get into these different languages, into different cultures so seamlessly. Look, I'm somebody who's come from nothing. The person you see on stage today, it's taken many years of hard work to be where I am. But where I come from, the kind of family that I come from, were people who didn't have much. And when you spend so much time on the streets, when you interact with people, that's only when you understand what real India feels like. When I was on radio and when I started doing the calls, the idea was to bring out those fights that are there on a street onto the radio so people could be entertained on a car ride. And people were like, damn, these are real fights because there were real abuses. There were people really losing their mind. When I, for example, called someone and said, I put petrol in your diesel car. Or when I called someone and said, how did you enjoy the chicken Manchurian? Right? Look, I was just being 22, 23, and I was having a great time. But the idea was to essentially bring out these real fights, these real people onto the radio. Or when I started doing, say, for example, a character like Mr. Nags, I don't know, ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಮಲ್ಲೇಶ್ವರಮಿಂದ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಯಾರಾದರೂ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿದಾರಲ್ಲ ಈ ಥರ ಅಂಕಲ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ you know, they talk like that. Illa that what I'm saying means actually that we cannot able to say that properly. I'll give you an example. I just did a video 3 days ago where it was about an NRI child who's come back home and he's taken to Raichur to meet his grandmom under the pretext of meet your grandmom because she doesn't have too much time left. I don't think any one of us have ever gone to see our grandmom because we really want to see them. It's always because she doesn't have too much time left. Right? And I had to capture that, and I had to do it in a minute. So I just made it a fun interaction between the dad, the mum, the son, and how disconnected they are. And there was a little segment which I did about quality time, when no one's talking to each other. Because in India, we don't understand what quality time is. It means just sit down. We'll throw you in a room, just sit down. That is quality time. Versus actually talking and enjoying each other's company. So I feel like it's little nuances. I think when you live life, experience life, when you talk to people, when you spend enough time with people of all shapes and sizes, without judging them and who they are or where they come from, I feel like it just becomes easier to then speak like them, speak with them. And I think that's basically the fundamental of how I've built these different characters and the different universes and the different forms of jokes that I've told all these years.
It's incredible. And so I want to go one level deeper here. There are a lot of people who are building stuff here. There are a lot of people who are marketers here. There are a lot of people who are into this, right? And what we want to talk about is storytelling from a brand's perspective, right? And you're doing it from a creator's perspective. But I want to go deeper because Mr. Nags is your... I mean, look at RCB first, right? So, by far the best brand in the IPL universe, right? And I say that being a Punjabi.
I think it's honestly not because I'm a part of the team or I've been with them for 11 years or for as long as I've been, even as a fan. I truly believe that there are some brands that have come out of India that have truly, truly gone global and have done a phenomenal job. And you know, RCB is definitely one of those brands. They definitely have. They have captured the imagination of so many people. It would be unfair if I didn't say Mumbai Indians, if I didn't say Chennai Super Kings, because these are behemoths. They're followed by so many people, they're loved by so many people, but that's also because they've created stuff that engages and speaks to their fans so directly. Because cricketers are cricketers, right? They're revered, they're loved in this country. But for example, when we did Mr. Nags, the idea was to give the person who's here, a person like me, access to what happens inside a team environment more than just the cricket. Because I feel like even a cricketer, before he's a cricketer, is a human being. And when you humanize people, you connect with people a lot more.
Okay, so one of the questions is why would a cricket franchisee create a character like Mr. Nags, right? So and you did it from scratch. What was the thought process? Why would you do that? See, when it becomes a success, everyone says sahi tha. But talk me 1 decade back, that right now it feels like anyone can do it, right? But it was 10 years back, a cricket franchisee creating a character like that. What was the thought process?
Yeah, so look, I mean, honestly, credit to the guys at RCB. You know, the marketing and business head, Nikhil Sosle, was extremely instrumental in me being there, and I am eternally grateful to him. Him and the cricket setup, which at that time was the coach Daniel Vittori, and of course, it was important for Virat to take to it. When we started doing this, honestly telling you, I feel like nowadays brands are too focused on the outcome. Nobody really wants to invest in an idea and say, let's let this idea breathe. We had no idea if RCB Insider was going to make money, if the RCB digital property would be as big as it is today. The idea was to make content to engage with the fans and to give fans an authentic experience of what a team environment feels like. Now, of course, it's become what it is. There are sponsors on board and etc., etc. But at that time, I really think it was incredible on their part to stand their ground and say, we will give this a fair shot without even knowing what the returns would be. And I still remember being at their office. It happened very interestingly. I used to do radio. I was at an improv show, and Nikhil and a bunch of these cricketers had come to watch that show. And at the back of the show, Nikhil told me, hey man, I've heard your prank calls. I've seen you do improv. I'm putting 2 and 2 together. I have something interesting that I want to do. Do you want to come meet us in the office? So I went to their office in UB City. I sat down there, and he showed me a clip of Sacha Baron Cohen, who's one of my favorite comedians, do a character called Ali G. And he was doing it with, historians, scientists, great artists, NBA players. And he said, do you think we'd be able to create something like this? I had no idea if I could. I didn't even know I'd do it, and I would, end up doing it for 11 years. But at that time, there was just this brashness of being 26, nothing to lose because you really have nothing. So you bullshit your way through it and say, of course I know what I can do with this. So I did that, and I got the gig. My mum came to close my first contract. She used to be my manager then, and my mum's only thing to them was, will he be taken care of? Will he have a hotel to stay at? Will he have his breakfast, lunch, and dinner? And she had no idea what I was going to do. But my mother told me one thing. She said, listen, whatever you do, take a real crack at it. And I gave it my all. And, for the first 5 years or 6 years, we've never written a script. We've never written a storyline. We've never gone in with a creative idea. We've gone in there with no ego and just the dream, the desire to do well and to make it worthwhile for the people watching. That's it. The audience has been at the heart of it. And the fact that we would make the cricketer who's investing and giving us his time, make it feel worthwhile for him as well. Like when Rajat became the captain, the idea was to make him a hero, which is why at many occasions, at actually every occasion, Mr. Nags has always been the idiot taking the joke. He's always been the punchline. It's never the cricketer who's the punchline. With Virat, of course, it evolved to a point where I could turn around and have one roasty bit in it or 2 roasty bits in it. Like, do you like pets? He's like, yes. I'm like, do you have any? He goes, no. And I'm like, but you just picked 2 ducks. Right? This was, I think, 2-3 seasons ago when he had a couple of ducks, right? But
So that Danish couldn't do. That only Mr. Nags could do.
I'd never do it. I'd never do that to Virat because I have a great amount of respect. And also you kind of realize after a point when you're so close to that system, right? When you're within that system, like it's like the startup world. I know today a lot of people outside turn around and say, man, how many startups fail. But I've never heard a startup person turn around and bitch another startup out. Because you'll understand that nobody really starts something to fail. Everybody wants to have a big hit. Everybody wants to have a unicorn company. But you fail, man. That's life. You just fail. And when you see failure that often, and when you stay with people who fail not just in a game, they could fail and succeed with every ball. Like you could be out on one ball, you could hit a 6 on one ball, you could hit a single on one ball. You see them, fail, pass, succeed, not succeed with every ball is an event. And in the process, you just learn that they're as human as us. And it's okay if somebody fails. It's okay if somebody doesn't score runs. Big deal. Eventually, you just like the human being and you understand that the person has a great work ethic. So I wouldn't say that. But when I'm doing a job in front of a camera as Mr. Nags, I have the onus of delivering to the franchise. I have the onus of delivering to a fan base that expects a certain kind of humor. And I'm just at the center there playing this, and everybody knows they're playing a part. Because the moment it goes cut, and the mustache comes off, the glasses come off, the wig comes off, and the hairband comes off, we go back to being, thank you, Virat, for doing this. I really appreciate your time. And I think that's what's kept me in the system for 11 years. The fact that I know where the line is between me working and just being me.
Yeah, one of the very interesting things you said is that for the first few years, there was no script, there was no
calendar. There was nothing. It was just all improv. It's impromptu calendar.
Everything, every single thing. I didn't even know who was coming for dinner, who was not coming for
Like
dinner.
looking at RCB handle, I feel like there would be a content calendar. There would be a strategy.
It's a lean, mean flying machine. Even till date, I'm given one camera person who I love a lot. His name is Arjun. He shoots everything. Basically, the guy who started shooting with me, Kalveer, is still a friend. He pops in and out. I guess he's the only one who's made retirement money, while the rest of us are still slumming it out. But Arjun shoots it. I have a friend of mine, Kritarth, one of my dearest friends, who still works with me on an everyday basis. He writes with me. And every year what we try and do is we try and bring in one new perspective to the team, because I feel like there is no joke or no situation you can tell me with RCB that I haven't already thought of or I already haven't done. So then we need a new perspective, because I feel like sometimes we're also stuck in our ways of doing things that it becomes a little bit of an echo chamber. And I feel like one new person coming in, it adds so much value, because individuals rarely win. It's products and teams that really win. You know, I mean, unless you're playing an individual sport. If I was a stand-up comedian on stage doing my part, even then I would need the light guy to support me, etc., etc. The audience needs to very much, when you're a part of a stand-up comedy experience, the audience is actually a big part of the act. If you refuse to laugh, or if you refuse to not interact, like if you say, I'm not going to interact with the comedian, it could just be downhill from there, right? So I think individuals never win. It's usually teams. And I feel like the team that we've had is incredible. So every time we need a new perspective, every single year for the last 4 years, I've had a new writer join us, just so that I'm like, what do you think we can do better? What do you think we can do that we haven't done yet? And that's been very helpful. So yeah, it's a very lean, mean flying machine. We finish the video. It goes to one guy for an approval. He approves it, and it's uploaded. Simple. Like, you guys see the press conferences that I do? If you're an RCB fan and if you've seen it, the press conference characters are all voiced by me. We record it usually like 10 minutes after a game is done, because I don't go to the stadium. I like watching it at home. I just like a couch and the comfort. I prefer that. So I like watching it at home. My friends come over. It's like, you know, whoever wants to get a drink will get a drink. Whoever wants to get some popcorn will get some popcorn. We watch the game. While we're watching the game, it's like we're making jokes as we fly. And then we retain the good ones and we shoot 10 minutes later.
Pretty amazing, man. Pretty amazing, because there is no doubt that I was telling my team there should be a case study in RCB as a brand.
Yeah, like I can tell you something fun. Even peas, you know, the peas of Mr. Nags, peas. That peas was actually a spelling mistake. It was P-E-A-C-E is what I was saying, but I said it like peas, and Kalveer wrote peas. So when I went into his house, this is the first ever video that we did with Virat and I in Kolkata, where I crashed an ad shoot for Britannia. And he wrote peas, as in P-E-A-S, and I said, dude, it's supposed to be peace, and I cracked up, and I said, he was going to change the spelling, and I said, you know what, actually let it be. And there was no interference. You know, I feel like creative people should be allowed to be creative people. Business people should do business. Pick a lane and stick in your lane. Because the moment everybody thinks they're funny, everybody thinks they're creative, everybody thinks they have a great idea to do a business, but the good ones know what they're doing. So just stick in your lane, let the creative guy be, because I feel like, sorry, I'm just gonna, you know, I know you said if they have questions, but I feel like, you know, I work with a lot of brands, and I love brands that let me do what I want to be, and I've always delivered great value to them, because they're at the heart and at the center of what we do, because I don't have a life if brands don't trust me, right? Like RCB is a brand that trusted me and let me do what I do. It's a team that operates that way. They have people to handle the cricket operations. They have people to handle business. They have people to handle content. They have me to do Mr. Nags. That's all I do. I cannot do anything else there. I'm sure I can hang around at breakfast and this and that, but when they're having a business discussion, you walk away. Cricket discussion, you walk away. So I just feel like, if you guys are in business, stick to doing business. If you're in marketing, you know what you have to do. Do it.
So I have to walk away from my next business meeting.
No, but I feel it's very clerical, right? Like the kind of marketing you do, the bit where you turn around and talk to a creative guy is very little. Most of your business is seeing where your ad spends are, how you can crunch money, which agency you'll talk to, how much you're talking to Group M, how much you're talking to somebody else. That's what you guys really do. That's what you become beyond a point, right?
You seeing how comedy is shaping up now, the kind of competition you have, or this space, and how brands are also leveraging a lot of this, right? And what are your thoughts on brands, using this form? Also, with Arvind, I was speaking a lot. Every joke he makes, "Yeah, हाँ, jail जाएंगे क्या?" And why are so many comedians going to jail? Where do you draw the line about crass content and good content? Where do brands should draw the line? So I want to intersect all of that: comedy space, content creation, brand, crass content. Now you're saying that
Okay,
at 25 you were doing something else and now you're doing something else. But yeah,
So,
tell me how that.
So let me just go. Okay, firstly, I don't think any comedian wants to say something to offend people. Okay, I think they say it, but it's just that sometimes you don't know where the line is. Nobody knows where the line is. I don't know it. You don't know it. Nobody knows it. But when it's pulled back after what you've said before, then you just have to say sorry and move on, right? I think there are mechanisms. When I say nobody wants to offend, I mean you can choose to be provocative and you can be very good at it. There are comedians who do that, but they know what they're getting into, which means when you're going to say something, own it fully. There's no half measures. If you don't know what you're doing, and if it needs to be pointed out by society to say, listen, I'm hurt by this, and then if you're going to delete it, then you just have a bad set of friends around you, or you don't have enough of a social group around you that's going to point it out and tell you that that's wrong, or don't do it. It's going to get you into trouble. So I think it's important for people to surround themselves with reality checks. Yeah, you need reality checks. Sometimes what's funny in my head, if I say it here, it could offend a lot of people, and I would never do that. That's why you have family. That's why you have friends, for you to go and spew all your bullshit there, right? I do that. You can call my wife and ask her. There's so many times when she's like, please don't say that outside. Please don't. Just leave it here, right? But when it comes to young comedians and people who are doing this, look, man, which one of us is perfect? How many people get to their first startup and go, this is what I wanted to do? You're going to take a while before you get to the one that you really want to do, right? And it's okay for people to do that. It's okay. I know that in India as a society, we have very high standards of what we want people to be like. And I feel like with time, we are getting to a point where we're like, yeah, okay, it's fine. He made a mistake. He did something that the society didn't like. He's going to come around in a different form factor. And I feel like a talented people will always thrive through those situations. That's my take on comedy. And I feel like...
How do companies and brands utilize this?
So how do companies and brands utilize this? Look, the way you think comedians could be risky, it's fair to say even comedians could think your companies could be risky. Right? Like, for example, Jar, I know you'll take people's hard-earned money and say we're saving it in gold. You tell me, is my joke more risky or what you're doing is more risky? But I'm just saying that when we work with a brand, I always tell people, listen, we will work together. It's a collaboration that you've come to me for, which means I will speak my language, because your brand's language and my language are never going to be the same. Because I am not Jar, I am not Kit Kat, I am not 5-star, I'm not, Kingfisher. I'm none of these things. I am me, and you are you. You are very good at what you do. When you come to me, we collaborate and create something cool together. So I just feel like, the collaboration has to be seamless. And I also feel like the way forward, like when I started out, I'll be honest, okay, it was the wild, wild west. Okay, I have endorsed Uber on one day, Taxi for sure on one day, Ola on another day. No standards whatsoever. I have said Uber is also very good, Taxi for sure is also very, very good, Ola is also very good. Somebody gave more money, I am telling you Taxi for sure is better than the other two. Right? I've done it like that because there was no concept of category blocks and stuff like that, because it was really very new. It was new to the companies, it was new to the creators as well. Then, of course, people like you and, great professionals came in place and said, listen, we got to streamline this. So I think that if if you are looking at creating content for your company, what I would say is don't necessarily try and tie it back to your product. It's important for the user to first be able to interact with you. They might not know what you sell, but they'll at least know how you feel and what you stand for. Right? And I feel like sometimes it's not like, when you go to make, when you invite someone home, you're straight away not going to tell them, okay, go to sleep by 10, wake up at 6 in the morning and have coffee or whatever, right? You're going to let them have a good time, and they'll figure it out in time that you have a process at your place. And I feel like that's what a lot of brands don't do. So I would say it's important for brands to invest in IPs. Like Mr. Nags happened. Maybe there is another Mr. Nags. Maybe there is, some other thing that you want to do in a completely different space. But I would say let users interact with you, because you will stand for something. You'll have a voice of your own. And until you don't try 5 or 6 types of content, you'll never know what's the real kind of content you want to produce. Because it would be hard. You're not like movie studios. You're organizations. And you'll have to pick 5 or 6 things, like a bouquet of things. And from there, you'll have that one thing that pops. Is it comedy? Then great, yes. Because, it's like when I started doing real estate ads now, because, there's enough money there. Right? Because I feel like a lot of the times, there was a time when I used to do a lot of crypto brands. Dude, I sold that. And then it hit me, it hit my conscience at some point. It hit my conscience because I was constantly worried about the kids out there, because I already feel like, look, Instagram's given me a lot, the internet's given me a lot, but if you see, I don't put a lot of my lifestyle up there. I don't, right? I don't do my holidays. I don't put what my wife and I are doing. I don't, it's very rarely that I do that, because I truly, and I'm not just saying this, I truly care about the guys out there, the young ones out there, because the definition of success has changed. We're living in times where the definition of success has changed, right? So I'm very careful of what I put out there, but you keep it real. Like I have toothpaste on my t-shirt when I make a video. Yeah, I'm keeping it real. So I feel like for brands, I really think like the amount of money you'll spend with agencies and this and that, they're great people. But it's never going to really, it's like a cookie cutter thing, right? I mean, you're going to look a little different from the next guy. But you're not going to look like yourself.
But if you do it as a creator and be genuine, right, your page grows really fast, you get a lot of engagement, but brands becoming genuine as, this brands becoming people.
But you set your guidelines, right? You set your guidelines, which is why you guys are the ones who've studied this stuff, which is why you have a founder who has a vision, who knows why he started this company, and then it's about how you communicate this. You could tell somebody with comedy, you could tell somebody by making them cry. Like, I'll give you a great example, guys. I mean, I'm talking about one of the oldest companies in our country, the Tata Group. They back Big Basket. I did a video with them, an Indian company which sells stuff to Indian people in Bangalore, around the country, in Korean. I sent them an ad in Korean. The brand guy called me and said, "Bro, are you mad?" I said, "Yeah. Can we do this in Korean, please?" He said, "Okay, do it." And we did it, and the video killed. What connection does it have? It really has no connection. It's just about capturing people and telling them what it is at the end of it. They'll stay with you if your story is interesting. Like, I'll give you an example, right? I know a lot of brands wish people on occasions. Right? Okay, now I'm going to ask you all this, right? All of us have bank accounts. All of us have mutual funds. Your mutual fund guy also wishes you happy birthday. Does it really matter? Why are you wishing people then? Like, if you tell me happy Deepavali or not, my Deepavali is happy. Yeah, do you all have any questions that I can answer for you? Please feel free to ask me. Ma'am, please. Yeah, yeah.
As you mentioned, you say you would watch the places of that research syndrome thing. In order to also only the one they were.
Yeah. 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 So I think I'll tell you where, right? All of us have brilliant ideas. to translate them into reality, where it becomes the mess is when we go into procrastination. That's the worst part of it. And I've realized if you have to fail, you will fail. Now, whether you fail 15 days later or whether you fail tomorrow, if you have to succeed, you will succeed 15 days later or you will succeed tomorrow. What is the harm? Also, what is the worst that can happen if you fail? What is the worst? You're just going to lose a few nights of sleep. You think the world hates you. Nobody cares. They all move on. So when we discuss an idea to us shooting it, the reason we don't sit on it is because we'll go into dissecting every joke to seeing if it's worth it, where is it hitting, what is the word we're using, who are we trying to offend, this, that. We don't want that. We write it, we know it's safe in our head because we have certain guardrails already, right? So when you think of an idea as a startup founder, run with it. See where it takes you to. But if you just think of the idea and then sit down and say, let's think about it and meet. And also, are you from here? Yeah? Because I'll tell you what, right? Like I met the Jordanian boys. You know the Jordanian guys, the YouTubers? I met them last week at the launch of the Apple store. We were supposed to meet. 1 week has gone by. Because we're inherently lazy to go out and do something after this. But if we had to make an idea that night, I know we would have made it. But we will meet at some point. It will happen. But I'm just saying that if you have an idea, act on it. This now. I feel like we waste too much time being ahead and behind. There's no point. Just do it now. I'm telling you, that worked out for me only after I met Anya and I got married to her. I'm telling you, she came in and put the brakes on my life and how. Like she's seen me. Even now I enjoy my conversations with her because she went to NID and she's got a great creative mind. I think I have tremendous respect for her as a creative person and I like discussing ideas with her. But that's very different from me saying, I have an idea, I have an idea, I have an idea. There was a point when I would work every single minute. Now I guess I'm just more observant. I enjoy time when I'm not thinking of anything. And most men over here will tell you we're actually quite dumb. We do nothing. Aren't we? We just sit down, right? We're just like just sitting down, blank. I'm like that. But now the time that I have, where I have to think of things as well, I'm so glad that I have my son now and I spend time with him. So these are good breaks to go away and come back. And I feel that that time that you're there, in that moment, when you just go precise and do what you have to do and get out, you got to make that distinction. I think that distinction helps a lot. I hope I answered your question. I'm trying to. Yeah.
Sir, a man, yeah.
Through your skins, you sort of bring out this subculture in Bangalore.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But they still sort of cut across and
Yes.
you're able to deliver to a wider audience, be the women
Yes.
pan-India.
Yeah.
And even, with how Bangalore's culture has changed, but it still somehow stays relevant.
Yes, sir.
Have you thought about it? Why do you think this is happening?
So I love this city. I love this city. You know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know a city better than this, and this is what I know. I don't care if people relate to it or not. I will do what I have to do, and people will find their ways to love it. You know, when we try and tailor something to too many people, we're never going to win. But when you tailor the little bit that you know, and when you do that well, people will find ways to love it. I, in fact, was telling him yesterday that the more local you are, the odds of you going more global are, the odds of you going global are higher. Because people want to see what's authentic to you. Like I was telling him, I watched F1, the movie with Brad Pitt. Have you seen it? Yeah? You should watch it. It's a sports film about an underdog who comes and wins. We've all seen that trope many times. But it's the world of Formula One. It's authentic to that world, and people want to see something that you know well. And if you stick to that, I feel like people will come from all around and start connecting and find their own little ways in it. And I'm so glad that this city, has had so many people come, go, they continue to come. You know, it's a business city. There are so many people who experience the city in so many ways. Our touch points are very similar, be it the, taxi driver, be it, the auto driver, the shop that we go to, the bar that we go to. So I feel like the touch points are very similar, and I'm glad that, I've gotten to experience all these, either as the person who's benefiting from them or being the guy who's been at the service end. Because you know, not a lot of people know, and I don't talk about these things because I've never said it out. It's probably the first time I'm saying it, but I've spent my summer holidays when I was an 11, 12-year-old standing outside Bal Bhavan in Cubbon Park selling glasses for people to see solar eclipse. I come from there. I've seen this city. I've been there. I've been there with ears to the ground, and I continue to have that. In fact, the next thing that we're doing right now as a creator, I've realized that I haven't really created something new in a while. I'm kind of getting tired of doing what I do. So we're now creating a show where, with comedy, where we're asking people to support small businesses. And it's new. I'm creating a new character. It's a new thing, but it talks about things that already exist, because I felt like if you don't go out to the streets and meet the real India, what's the point of what we do? Because they got to benefit from what we do, and only then will we grow as a nation as well. Yeah.
Last question for the night, and then we head to dinner, mates, please.
On how I manage my anxiety working around them, yes, very big franchise. There is always very big pressure. But I was also no spring chicken. I had done radio. I was already a name. So I had skill and ability. All I had to do was back myself to be able to deliver. Also know when you have very little and when you know you have no choice but to win, you will do everything it takes to win. And I just did that. As simple as that.
On that note, thank you so much, guys. Give it up for Danish Sait.